Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This time we're going to be looking at a railway station which is closed. It's located in Halifax, West Yorkshire, and was known as St Paul's Station. The 2.5 mile branch from Holmfield to Halifax St Paul's was one of the temporary closures to passengers in World War I which proved to be permanent. It was an extraordinary line which followed an indirect, steeply graded route, including the 819-yard Wheatley Tunnel and a 100-foot tall 10-arch viaduct over the Hebble Valley to end in the suburbs of Halifax, some 300 feet above the town centre and the existing main railway station. It was also expensive to build, and at first glance would appear to be an absurd enterprise. However, the St Paul's line was part of a bold plan by which Midland Railway's Anglo-Scottish expresses could travel by Sheffield, Barnsley, Huddersfield and Halifax, thence via the Great Northern Railway Queensby route to Keighley, and it depended upon the Hull and Barnsley Railway extending its network via Huddersfield to a new Halifax Central Station in George Square. In 1884, a company rejoicing in the name of the Halifax High Level and North and South Junction Railway was authorised to construct 5¼ miles of route from Holmfield on the Halifax to Queensby line, which consisted of the St Paul's branch and another branch to Halifax Central, where the present station is now, where it would meet the Hull and Barnsley extension. An Act of September 1886 restricted the High Level Railway project to the Holmfield St Paul's section, and it would be worked jointly by the Lancashire and Yorkshire and Great Northern Railway companies, and the Great Northern Railway provided the passenger train services. In 1894 the line was vested in the two companies. Although the modest branch line without over to Halifax Central had no strategic value, it nonetheless made sense on a local level. Prior to its opening, the 130 mills in the elevated western suburbs of Halifax had to be supplied with 80,000 tonnes of coal each year, which had a difficult uphill journey. On the 1st of August 1890, the branch opened to goods as far as Pelham, 3/4 of a mile short of St Paul's, and to all traffic to St Paul's on the 5th of September 1890. The service operated as a shuttle between St Paul's and Holmfield's Bay platform, allowing passengers to change there for Bradford trains. In December 1895 there were 13 weekday departures and 5 on a Sunday. In April 1910 the service had reduced slightly to 11 on weekdays, with an extra on Monday and Thursday, but still 5 on a Sunday. The trains were of little value to anyone living in the St Paul's or Pelham areas for travel to central Halifax or the old station, owing to the indirectness of the route, the need to change trains and the relative infrequency of this service. By 1898, electric trams had reached the vicinity of St Paul's and Pelham stations, providing fast and frequent services to the centre. On various other lines, rail motors were introduced to reduce costs, often in connection with opening halts to tap extra traffic. Although tried out on the St Paul's branch in 1906, a steam rail motor was not adopted, perhaps because of the steep gradients of the 1 in 35 at Holmfield and 1 in 50 approaching Pelham from the north. No further passenger stations were opened, although a goods station was added at Wheatley, south of the viaduct. Halifax St Paul's had an island platform with a glazed ridge and furrow verandah, extending for a little over half of its length. At the southern end, a further glazed verandah was provided over the concourse at the head of the platform. The entrance building was a single-storey brick structure with a pitched roof and raised gables. The entrance was beneath a cross gable. 4 goods sidings were found east of the passenger station, and north of the station, adjacent to the signal box, was a further siding approaching the turntable. Many lightly used stations closed on the 1st of January 1917 to release railway staff for military service, and the St Paul's branch lost its passenger service on that date. Although freight continued to be handled, only occasional excursions used the line. After passenger closure, the branch was singled and most of the signalling was dismantled. A Stevenson Locomotive Society special is understood to have been the last passenger train to visit St Paul's on the 6th of September 1953. The freight services on the line ended on the 27th of June 1960, and the facilities at Wheatley, Pelton and St Paul's were closed. St Paul's Station building is thought to have been demolished in or shortly after 1963, and the rails were probably removed by the mid-1960s. The north end of the station site was redeveloped for housing in the 1960s and 1970s. This was Kingston Close and Kingston Court. So there we go, folks. There is the end of the video. I hope you did find that interesting. If you have, please remember to give it a like, give it a share, click on the notification button to never miss a video, and completely up to you whether you subscribe to my channel or not, as long as you watch my videos. That is all I'm bothered about. So until the next video, please do take care of yourselves, and goodbye for now.